Hello trombone players, this is your snow day lesson. Today we're going to learn two new notes, but first you need to assemble your instrument. So if you haven't already done that, please pause the video now and put your instrument together. All right, now we need to warm up. So we're not going to warm up on the trombone, so you can do what I'm doing. I'm just resting the little stopper at the end of my slide on the floor, and I'm just holding on to it. So sit up nice and tall for some sizzles. Use lots of air. Repeat after me. Now we're going to warm up on our mouthpieces. So get your mouthpiece. Repeat after me. Now, if you find that you're not able to get higher and lower sounds, you just kind of get all the same sound, go back and do that exercise again and make sure you're using faster air for the higher sounds and a smaller hole in your lips for the higher sounds. And on the other side of that, make sure you're using a slightly larger hole for the lower sounds and slightly slower air for the lower sounds. Now we're going to warm up actually on the trombone. So I'm going to back up so I don't blast your speakers out, and we're going to play patterns on each of the notes that we know. So we're starting on B flat. Get ready. Repeat after me. B flat. Now C. Be sure that your hand is not in a fist around your slide bar. Make sure you make your peace sign and then make kind of this little mouth guy and hold your slide bar like that. Make sure your slide's unlocked. Repeat after me on C. Now repeat after me on D. Now for our new notes. The next note higher than D that you're going to learn is E flat. E flat is in third position, so it's closer to your face than the bell. It's right near the bell, but it's a little closer to your face. That's third position. Remember, a little bit faster air for E flat. Repeat after me. And our next note that we're learning is F. F is higher than E flat, and it's in first position, right? All the way as close to the mouthpiece as you can get. The other note you know in first position is B flat. So be sure that you're using faster air and a smaller hole in your lips to get the F. Let's try it. Repeat after me. Now, if you find that you're not able to play many E flats in a row, or you can't play many Fs in a row, that's okay. What you need to do is do these exercises again on your own or with the video many days in a row. So this should be part of your practice sessions. Each time you try to play those higher notes in this exercise, try to do more. You're actually working out your face muscles, your lip muscles, and your face muscles. So you'll be able to do more the more you try and the more you do it. It's sort of like if you were going to try to lift a really heavy weight without ever doing that before, you won't be able to do it, or you won't be able to do it many times. But the more you do it, the more your muscles build up and get used to it, and then you can lift heavy weights. Same thing, except smaller muscles. Next, we are going to use all the notes we know in some scales, and we're going to do that with this paper. I hope it's not backwards for you because I'm seeing it backwards on the screen. It's called Workout for Your Face. You might already have this, but if you don't, go to the part of this website. You can look right up here. There's a little button that says More, and then click Documents, and you can print it out right from there. Make sure you use the one for trombones, otherwise you will be a little confused. So you can see that you play each note 4 times. It starts on your lowest note, goes all the way up to your highest note, which is your new note F, and then it comes all the way back down. Workout number 1 is 2 lines long, so make sure you do both of them. So right now, if you don't have that worksheet, pause the video and go get it. I'll see you when you get back. So we are working on your workout for your face. Look at the first measure. What note do you play? And how many times do you play it? And how many beats does each note get? If you need to pause the video to answer any of these questions to yourself, please do. Take all the time you need. And look at the second measure. Same questions. What note? How many times? Third measure. What note? How many times do you play it? Fourth measure. What note is it? How many times do you play it? Don't forget to count up from the bottom line if you're having trouble figuring these out. The bottom line is G, and just count up in alphabetical order, line, space, and you'll find what note it is. And the last note on the first line, what note is it? How many times do you play it? Second line, what note is it? How many times do you play it? Next measure, what note is it? How many times? Next measure, what note is it? How many times? And the last measure, what note is it? How many times do you play it? Now you're going to go through and do the slide position for all of these notes, and you're going to say the note name as you do it. So please pause the video right now and do that. Welcome back. You just did the slide positions for workout number 1. Now, play it. So please pause the video and play it. If you're having trouble figuring out where the slide positions go back and say the note names while you're doing the slide positions. Take all the time you need doing that, so when you play it, it will be easier. Pause the video and play workout number 1. All right, so you did your first workout, good for you. The next thing we're going to do is learn a new song. It's called El Toro. It's in your book on page 7. It's number 13 at the bottom there. You can see it. And there's this little green icon that shows you that there is accompaniment music to back you up on the CD in the back of your book. We are not going to start with that because we've never played the song before. So we'll learn it a little bit slowly, and then eventually when you get good at it, pop in that CD and play with it. It will be an extra fun treat. So El Toro uses only 3 notes. 2 of the new notes and 1 of your old notes. Look at the first measure. What note is it? And how many times do you play it? And don't forget, pause the video if you need to answer these to yourself with a tiny bit more time, or a lot more time. Second measure, what note is it? How many times do you play it? Third measure, the pattern's a little different now. What notes do you play and how many times do you play them? And the fourth measure, what note, how many times? All right. You are going to do the slide positions and say the note names for the first half of El Toro. So please pause the video and do that right now. Do that as many times as you need to be really comfortable with it. Definitely more than once. Probably at least 3 times. Pause the video and do that. Now, you're going to go through and play that first half of El Toro. Make sure you're using fast air and you're tapping your foot at a nice slow, steady beat. Play the first half of El Toro. Now that you've done the first half of El Toro, let's go to the second half. Measure 5. Look at it. Does it look anything like measure 1, the first half of El Toro? What's the same? What might be different? Now look at measure 6. This is still part of the second half of El Toro. Does it look anything like the second measure of the whole song? What's the same? What might be different? Now look at the third measure, the 7th measure of the whole song, and the 3rd measure of the whole song. Did the composer put anything in there to try to trick you or make the song a little different there? Figure out what it is. Figure out what's the same. Now look at the very last measure and the 4th measure of the whole song. What's the same? What's different? You should have found that you have already learned part of the second half of this song when you learned the first half. Excellent. Now go through that second half of El Toro doing the slide positions and saying the note names. Pause the video for that. All right, now go through and make sure you've done that a few times so it's comfortable. And if you're having difficulty with that, don't go through and play it yet. You can wait for another day to do that. That's completely fine. That's how practicing goes. But if you're ready, go through and play the second half of El Toro. Pause the video for that. And now you've played the second half of El Toro. You're going to go through now with a slow, steady foot tap to keep your beat and play all of El Toro. Do it nice and slowly, and when you can do that, make it a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And then you can play with the CD. So I hope you had a nice lesson. Come find me at school if you have any questions or concerns, or you need extra things to play, or if you want extra help. Have a great day.